Going live. Boop, boop, boop. Guess what, people? I did not watch the video I said I was going to watch. Instead, Curtis is going to tell us about it in a probably less graphical way than he just tried to describe it to me.
What video did you say you were going to try to watch?
The shooting one? The snow shovel?
Oh, did you say that recently?
Oh,
just now. I gotcha. Okay.
I texted it. Sorry, I put it into sorry. Whew.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. So, hey guys, welcome back to Testing Normal. This is episode number 90.
90.
I'm pretty proud of that number.
How freaking wild is that?
That's pretty wild, man. Well, this week, I would say is maybe like 2 points of a step down from crazy from the past previous weeks. Plenty of crazy to go around, don't get me wrong. But not quite world shaking, I feel like, to the degree. Is that accurate? Would you agree with that?
I would not earth shattering. No. There is I just like TMI for a moment, guys. While Curtis was texting out to some friends, I went to the bathroom. And to answer your question, Gary, yes, that it was us live on that little tiny screen, so you could see us picking our noses and whatever. Can you move your mic closer to your mouth, though, Curtis? Because you're kind of hollow sounding on the recording. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling because I'm listening to us in this ear, and it's terrible. So it's terrible to try to listen to us 30 seconds ago. Nothing earth-shattering. My cousin did mention Mike Lindell's documentary, which I'm 1,000% confident you did not watch. And so maybe I'll make some comments on that a little bit. I actually completely forgot that it came out. But it was something, and it is something going on. So I have some thoughts. But other than that.
Now, why would you say you're 1,000% sure? I didn't listen.
Do you know who Mike Lindell is?
Yeah, he's a Pello guy.
There you go. Okay, good. You do. I'm 1,000%.
He's Mr.
I'm
Pello.
1,000% because I know that you would get bored within the first 3 seconds, and you'd just stop listening anyway.
It's possible.
So.
Well.
Did you watch it?
Watched
it.
Yeah. I did not even know he had a documentary.
Yeah, so
I did know that he likes to involve himself in politics because naturally that lends somebody to politics, right. Expertise in pillow making. But so does working as a waitress and then becoming a politician. So it doesn't matter. Either way.
Mixing drinks and then almost getting
that's
blown
what
up
I
and
was
killed
saying.
At the Capitol. Yeah. Fakely.
Okay. So first of all, guys, I'm gonna broach the subject. It's a little sensitive, and I'm gonna be.
Wait. Is this
I'm gonna
about
make
the
commentary.
Video or?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I really.
So, a moment, kind of a somber situation took place this week, about 3 days ago, where a couple in Pennsylvania got into a fight with their neighbor who lived across the street from them, and their situation escalated when they were shoveling snow. And apparently it had been going on for a while, but the neighbors kept shoveling their snow across the street into their neighbor's yard. And the neighbor would come out and he would shovel the snow.
How much snow are we talking?
It was, in Pennsylvania, it's snowing nonstop. So it's just this, heavy amount, decent amounts of snow. So their arguments kept escalating.
As they do.
And the couple started there's a video out now that you can watch, and it's about 1.5 minutes, I think, and it literally shows the entire sequence of events. Now, I want you to know I'm saying all this stuff, not that I think it's good that anybody got murdered or that it's good that anyone died in this situation. However, it does have, I think, a valuable lesson in the situation. So the couple started yelling at each other, or the couple started yelling at this individual guy, and they were being wildly aggressive at him, just telling him, he's a piece of shit and that he's worthless and he's just I think they were throwing, I think they were doing not racial slurs, but gender slurs and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. Getting really aggressive at the guy. And the guy was just getting super pissed and started yelling back at them. Well, eventually they just didn't stop. They kept pressing towards him, pressing towards his property. So he walks into his house. He comes out with a 9mm, points it at them, and the husband like flips him off and says, "You are such a effing, you know, pussy," and all this sort of stuff,
Right.
and like just like basically saying, "Yeah, you wouldn't dare," and the guy just like cap, 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 shoots like at least probably 4 or 5 shots at the husband, and then 3 or 4 shots at the wife, and they actually start running away, but they drop into the driveway, and they're still alive though. So the guy then
Clearly
says,
not
well, he doesn't
doing
say
as
anything.
well as they were before that, though.
Right,
Okay.
clearly not doing as well. But then the guy goes, he goes back into his house, comes out with an AR-15. I don't know if it was a 223 or what
It's
it
probably a
was.
50 cal.
Probably a 50 cal. I mean, ARs usually come in 50 cal.
I'm
So
making a joke because there was a senator or someone recently that said that they wanted to outlaw AR-15s with 50 cals, and we're like, go for it. Like,
oh, God, yeah, sure, go for it. Okay, that makes sense. So anyways, he comes out, he looks down at the wife, and the wife, during the video, you can listen to it, she was just like berating this guy and just like cussing and just being like a horrible neighbor to him, really rude. And he looks down and he's like, "You should have kept your effing mouth shut." Blows straight to the dome.
Really?
And then turns to the husband, doesn't even have anything else to say. Blows the husband.
So he'd already shot at these
up.
people.
Yes.
Came back out again.
He double tapped.
To just do a failure check.
He double tapped.
And so what happened to him?
And then he goes into his apartment or to his house across the street, back into the house. Neighbors start calling the police. Police show
Just
up
now,
and then
I mean,
you hear
a lot of things.
and then you hear another sound.
And he shot himself.
Dude suicided himself. Yeah. So pretty heavy stuff, but the lesson is,
yeah, what's the lesson in this?
Don't antagonize your neighbors to the point of constant bickering, because you don't know where that person is in their life. Especially, and I'm not saying this is because of the pandemic, but especially during a pandemic when people are already at like, tip-top level of frustration.
Yeah, I think people are at their height anyway, and they've had it with so much. Like, there's so much added stress and fear that we have in this world right now. It's like, stop. Just stop. Like,
yeah. So that was a pretty crazy situation that happened this week.
He was asking me about this, and he's like, you haven't seen this? And I said no, and I was going to try to watch it beforehand, but then I was like, forget it. Let's just go. Gary's getting impatient. And
yeah. Super crazy story.
Yeah.
So did anybody out there hear about Doge? I think it's actually pronounced Dogecoin. Dogecoin.
Yeah. Well,
anybody
we talked
out there
about Dogecoin last week, remember? So we talked about GME, we talked about AMC and a couple of these other ones, and we talked about Doge because Doge had gone to the moon. The moon was 8 cents or whatever. It has now broken that again.
Broken that ceiling.
And for those of you that don't know, like shocking. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about my audio, Rachel. Sorry. It sounded like she was talking about our mics. And Doge, for those of you that don't know, is a cryptocurrency. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to go into that right now. But it came literally out of a meme. Like, someone made a meme about a dog, and they were like, we're going to make a coin that's a joke, and we're going to have people buy it. It's been around now for quite a while. It's been listed on some weird exchanges and even on some that you wouldn't expect. And now Elon Musk keeps tweeting about it. And then I said, before we talk about the title of this week's episode, the 1.5 billion, I said to someone just last night, I said, it's only a matter of time before one company, and it doesn't matter really who it is as long as they have some substantial capital, says, you know what? And I think I said this to you this week too, because Josh Crane and I have had this discussion as well. And it's just going to take one company to put a little bit of their capital, a percentage of their capital that means something to them, to show confidence in cryptocurrency, to start a wave of moving to cryptocurrency. And there's a couple of reasons why this would be a good idea that I think it is, and there's arguments on the other side too. But this morning, after saying this to this guy, I said it's probably 6 months, could be 10 years. I wouldn't be shocked by either, because of the way that fiat currencies or the US dollar has gone. and the lack of confidence that people have in it, and how much inflation there's been, and then you got all these crazy amounts of like pandemic debt, and they're just like writing checks that they don't have a balance for, and all that. And then today I wake up and Tesla's announced through the SEC, we dropped $1.5 billion into Bitcoin. Realistically, they've been probably doing that for a few months now. And as soon as it hit, Bitcoin went, and it was already at a pretty high, like $37,000 a coin, and it shot to 47, like in a matter of hours.
So crazy.
And I don't know, I haven't looked now. I'll look right now. As we're live, I'll look and see where it's at. So we're at 46.6, it looks like right now. Maybe 46.68. So Bitcoin is a finite currency, so you don't have to have one coin. I used to think that there's no way I could afford to buy. I don't want to buy a $46,000 pizza with a coin. You can buy small amounts. You can deal in Bitcoin down to like the penny, back and forth.
Well, and even less,
and
even less
than
than
a penny. It's hard to transfer that.
Really.
But
I own like 0.015554359. Like you can own like to the multiple decimal.
Yeah, so those are called
points.
Satoshi that go out and at the end, and they're named after Satoshi Nakamoto, who was the pen name of the person who started Bitcoin. They think it was like 3 to 5 people. But anyway, that happened today, which is insane. And I've told people like, hey, should the world go that way and all of a sudden the US dollar is worth nothing, you can buy Bitcoin really easy these days. And even if you put in like 10, 20 bucks a month or something that's not going to, if it goes away next month, you're not going to die. You can buy it with Cash App, and you can have it on there, or you can buy it on Coinbase or whatever. You can get, join Coinbase. That's what Gary just said.
Yeah, Coinbase is easy to use, user-friendly.
Either one of them are really easy. And the key here is, and if you don't know what this is and you want to message me and ask me, is to make sure that wherever you buy it, it can be transferred out as cryptocurrency. So if you're in, say, you trade on Robinhood, which you should not at this point, we've kind of deemed that a necessary thing to get rid of at this point, because of everything that they chose to do in the last few weeks. But is to, like Robinhood, you can't transfer your coins out. You can buy coins, but you cannot transfer them in or out of that application. So it's pointless to own Bitcoin on Robinhood.
Well, when you own Bitcoin on Robinhood
or
Dogecoin, even same thing. You are exactly same thing as like if you had a stock to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't take that stock with you somewhere else. If you own Bitcoin in certain exchanges, you can actually take that Bitcoin with you,
which is
on
weird,
a flash drive,
because you actually can
keep
transfer those shares out of Robinhood to a physical share or to a different area. Like they have that, but they do not have the ability with cryptocurrencies, which I think is a giant failing on their side, because what's the point in having it if you can't use it in the way that it could be used intentionally in the future? And there are countries and there are economies that run fully on cryptocurrencies because their dollar has dropped to near nothing, and that's what they use.
So people out there are probably wondering, tell me a little bit more about cryptocurrencies. Like, what is is it just a fad? What is the purpose behind them? There's a lot of history behind cryptocurrencies. But what I wanted to say real quick here, as far as like there is a high potential that the prices could drop in certain situations dramatically still. They're still in the earlier stages. But some of the advantages and some of the safety nets that cryptocurrencies provide, especially in a time and in a world where some countries sometimes succeed and some countries fail. Some countries have control of certain currencies or stock markets. When you have a cryptocurrency that's not regulated by an overarching government, then you have more autonomy and you have more freedom to have that same currency not devalue itself because the United States or because Venezuela's government topple, or because you're in, no matter what country and they still have the same value.
Right.
So that gives you a protection to be a little bit independent and to also trade that coinage without necessarily even being taxed by a certain country, because if that other organization accepts that type of coin, then as value, then there's not necessarily the same regulation, which is why some U.S. government organizations do not like cryptocurrencies because of that potential.
I think it's so that I think you maybe saw his comment, but Gary had said that Coinbase you can trade back and forth. Yeah, Coinbase you can trade between different types of cryptocurrencies and whatnot. But kind of like a quick like rundown of cryptocurrencies is they have different needs. So like if you think like our dollar is pretty outdated, I can take a dollar down and it's, you know, generally worth the same at Safeway or the gas station or whatever. That's a monetary use for the money. But there are other things that cryptocurrencies can do that money cannot do. And that's like I can use it to identify myself. So there are coins that they're not exchanged as currency, but they're a way for me to prove that I am who I say I am, or that I own what I say I own. And so they can be used to like an identity that's way more encrypted, way more safe, way harder to steal, way harder to forge. And then there are other ones that are, you know, that are way more secretive. They're they're not an identity coin, but they're a security coin, in that you want to be anonymous in your payments. So even the person you're sending it to doesn't know who you are. And that sounds kind of freaky, like Swedish Bank, but there are instances where you might want that to be the case. Like think if eBay did that. You just have a good that's listed and they send to a certain account. I get it. They don't need to know my address or who I am or anything. They just need to know that the item's going to get there. That there are coins that are set up that way that are very, very anonymous. So that's kind of some ideas. But the thing that's nice about cryptocurrencies that, again, the government hates is that we see in this instance where they control our dollar. And our dollar is really just this, you know, this payment note that's like a promissory note that's really, they print more of it. So it's infinite. And when they need it, they just print it and it becomes debt. And cryptocurrencies are they're the opposite of that. So
one thing that's interesting, actually, the comment that Elon Musk made pertaining to Dogecoin and how it's the everyman's currency, or what did he call it? He said it's the everyman's crypto. I think he called it the everyman's crypto or something like that.
It's because everyone in the crypto community knows about it. Like,
well, no, this is actually, I listened to a really interesting video about this. A guy that was kind of like a crypto expert, and he was saying that what he thinks Elon actually means is Bitcoin essentially is at a point where it's such a high value that it's kind of almost like the gold. It's the gold standard for crypto right now. Okay.
Yeah.
And Dogecoin, what he sees as being kind of the
Earth, the people have spoken. That's what he said.
Yeah, the future currency. So he sees Dogecoin being a way of having a much lower entry point at this point, where more common people can actually obtain a larger share of the crypto. And he was saying that, you know, although Bitcoin has a finite amount, that will keep that value really high. Yep. However, in situations like Dogecoin, what he likes is that it does keep producing the coinage, because people will lose coin.
Yeah.
People over time, there's people that have lost millions of coins overall, I'm sure more than that. But he says that the fact that you have a coin that's a currency that still does have some production, although that prevents the value from being astronomical, but it also allows the common user to have it and to keep a funding. In the same way the U.S., we keep printing money.
Well, and that's where they call them stable coins. And I don't know that Doge is a stable coin. So to be a currency, you really need it to stay within like a safe margin of fluctuation. So if you were to look and see like currencies, unless they're like really failing, or, you know, everyone else's is failing, which is kind of why people base theirs on the US dollar, even though recently we've just decided to like use it as toilet paper. But it stays within like they say like a 6% range, where it really doesn't leave that to be stable enough for an economy to use it as something. You need it to be there. And they do have coins where the values don't go up and down. But Bitcoin right now, I would very much agree, it's not something that you would want to have on a credit card and go and swipe it. It's the transfer times are too slow. It's because it's so encrypted and everything. It is designed not to be an everyday currency. It's designed to be a savings,
or like
account.
A security bond style,
or like a savings account. A savings account that you put a mass amount in that just stays there and is rarely being pulled out. And if it is, then it gets charged in some way for the amount that you're pulling out, which is almost identical to what a savings account is today.
Now, the other thing with that we're seeing with Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, all these different coins, we are seeing an escalation in their value. But what we're also seeing is that when they dip down, their floor is staying at a higher
Yeah,
level,
their confidence
meaning
level.
that as you see their confidence levels, exactly. So even though Bitcoin at one point was, $10 or whatnot, you saw it increase to
Yeah.
1,000, then decrease to
When it
200.
first
You
rolled
saw
out,
it
it was less than a
increase to,
penny.
yeah,
The first
but you
the
see that
first
the
Bitcoin
floor
mine
level of
drop
it,
was 20 coins. That's insane,
that's
right?
crazy. But what I'm
Yeah,
saying though
sorry.
is we saw a big dip in Bitcoin 6 months ago, and then it stayed like close to 4,000, 5,000, and then it kind of just stayed at that for like 6 months, but it never dipped down to like 2,000 to
Right.
1,000. Like it had that solid floor level.
Yeah.
And then we saw it dip up to 20, and it went higher, and then it dipped back down to
Yeah.
20, and it stayed at that solid 20. So you're seeing a pretty decent foundation on
Yeah,
that.
and it is because we're coming up to the point where there isn't any more to find. There's network fees to be made, and if people don't know what that is, it's like the way that these work is it would be like if you had a checking account where like 1,000 people also had the same register, and you couldn't just write in more money. They all have to agree that you put more money in and that you got that amount of money, and when you send it that you have it and that it's going to the right place. So it's like this, it's called a ledger, and it's kept lots of different places, and the people that do the writing to those ledgers, that hold those servers, that make those calculations and make sure of the encryption and everything, they get a little chunk. So like it's like when you swipe your credit card, it's 2.9% to the merchant. Same deal happens with Bitcoin. It used to be that the coins would drop over time to those different, they call them miners, but they're really just transfer agents like Visa or MasterCard or whatever that transfers currency. And now they're getting to the point where those things aren't dropping anymore. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with it. But I think Bitcoin is going to be a storage, and something else will arise. It would be hilarious to me. I posted on Twitter today that the ultimate hilarity would be if Dogecoin became the currency because it was born out of a joke, and the US dollar is becoming a joke.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the US dollar still holds value
it
far
does,
more
but
than
it's but
in
like
a majority of
it's
countries.
becoming
But
like
there's a terrible risk of inflation
mhm.
taking place
As we
in the
speak.
short
Yeah,
term.
yeah.
Risky.
They
Yeah.
keep writing, debt that it can't pay. Like it just keeps.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
spooky.
it's terrifying, and that's why this 1.5 billion. The other thing that it means to
Yeah.
Tesla is that it is 10% of their holdings. That's like a significant chunk that they put on the line. 10% of their holdings they put into Bitcoin.
Of their valuation, of their overall valuation.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about Tesla's move as well is they now are going to be transitioning to allow the purchasing
Yes.
of items with Bitcoin. So eventually in the future, guys, you will be able to buy a Tesla vehicle with your
Right.
Bitcoin, which not only will continue to increase the value of coin as more industries start using Bitcoin.
Right. That's the big deal.
But it also, yeah, it increases value, but it also increases the credibility of it, because it's the same thing as like if our dollar, who cares what a piece of paper is? But if people recognize it as having that value, then the utility of it continues to increase as
Right.
well.
And Gary said here just a second ago, I put the comment up, but as you said, you want to be careful getting to Bitcoin or crypto because it's very volatile right now. Any one of these is going to be volatile until it has that confidence from a big corporation like this. I think we'll see the price settle into what it will. Bitcoin will probably keep rising as it's finite. But as savings, you would get some return as well when you put into a bank. You get some interest back. So that's where I think I view Bitcoin more as a savings type spot, and I think that's what they're saying too. It is also secure. It's never been hacked as far as we know. There's been some rumors of it, but I haven't seen anything substantial that's proven that. and it's, like Curtis was saying, it's global. So to have someone like come out and say this could be it is a big deal. And so like I just say to anyone that's like, well, how do I do this? It's like, just put $20 in it a month on Cash App or Coinbase and just ignore the price. Like ignore what your $20 gets you. So if anything does happen, wouldn't you rather have like a couple $100 in a different currency that might be the only thing that's taken for a few weeks?
Yeah, regardless of the current value.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So
a
if
good
you just
point.
had like, over the next year or two, and you just keep using US dollars and you just put 5, 10, $20 into this Bitcoin, and you don't even know what it is yet, I guarantee you, if that's all that's worth something, people will have a way
Mm.
for you to buy things with it. And it could be the difference between going without for a little bit and having something to kind of sustain you. I think it's important, but I wouldn't go transferring
Hmm.
half your savings account or something into Bitcoin. I think that's unwise. But
Right.
just a coffee here and there into Coinbase could change your life in the future. And to me, it's like buying insurance. Like you may not use it, but it's probably a good thing you had it there.
Now, do you think, Jordan, for your personal opinion, obviously, there's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin
Mm-hmm.
Cash, Litecoin, like there's a lot of them. Do you feel like diversifying within the multiple different cryptos?
Um, if it's just someone, I would say do what's the least complicated. Bitcoin's probably not going to
Mm.
go anywhere, and Ethereum's probably not going to go anywhere. Um, Ethereum, just like a quick rundown, is less of a currency, more of a network, but it still could be converted to other types of currencies, and its value is probably not going to fluctuate down anytime soon. But if it's like just ease of use, just buy 10, $20 of Bitcoin and do that every once in a while and then forget about it. And
And be willing to let the
yeah,
value, like, don't be
that's
crushed
why I said
when the
don't look
value
at the
goes
price. There are
down.
people that just set up auto withdrawal like 10, $20, $100 a month. They just put into Bitcoin and they don't look at it. They don't try to trade it. They don't try to. They just like, I'm gonna have this because if the value to U.S. dollar goes down, what does that mean in the day when the U.S. dollar is worth nothing? And it doesn't. You still have the same amount of Bitcoin. And if its value can only if all other dollars go down, and its value could only go up in that situation.
Right. And that's why, like, to answer Gary's question, as inflation rises, do you think that will have an impact on Bitcoin? I think potentially that Bitcoin's value
Will go up.
will retain, yeah, will retain its value or increase if the US dollar's value decreases.
Yeah, so that's where I was saying like inflation happens when there's more money than we can back out there and we're spending more than we are able to repay. Deflation happens when there's a finite amount and you can't reprint it. Or sorry. Yeah, deflation. So I said that right. I just confused myself because it's you never talk in those terms. Like you don't think about the you don't think about the world of currency gaining value. Like imagine putting, you know, $100 in and tomorrow that $100 is the same $100 but it's worth more. Like we've never had that happen.
Well, no, that's not true. The US dollar has increased in value.
When
Um, from World War II onward
Right, but if I
until
had a dollar then and
like,
I brought it forward, besides the fact that that dollar coin is probably worth a lot to a collector, it would still be $1 and buy
well,
more back then than
every
it does today.
I think, well, in that respect, yes, but the value of the dollar fluctuates when you look at the world
Yeah,
market. Sometimes the value of the dollar
right,
is worth $1.50 in Australia, but at other times it's worth $2
right.
in
But what you,
Australia. So the value of the individual dollar
yeah,
can
has
fluctuate.
totally changed. I'm saying in a system where it wasn't being messed with, you wouldn't see that as much.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John O'Reed said
Yeah.
he said the more the U.S. dollar crashes, the more Bitcoin will rise, which is true. It
Right.
just because it
Yeah.
has nothing driving its value down.
Other than the only thing that drives its value down is if you get potential. Well, I mean, there are things that can drive its value down. Bad press can drive
Mm-hmm.
its value down. Um, Inability to use the
Yeah,
coin on the market. Um, user friendly
yeah,
barriers. There are things that potentially bring the value
for
down.
sure.
However, it's not necessarily directly correlated with the U.S. dollar,
Right.
which is helpful and a good safety net.
Right. And I think too, like my suspicions are that the $20,000 rise and spike that we saw in, was it 2017, 2016, somewhere in there? It was 2017.
We actually saw a big dip last
We
year.
saw a
In
dip, but I'm
2020, we
talking about
saw.
the rise to 20 the first time
Oh,
was, I believe,
yeah.
the same thing that we
2016.
saw happen this time, because we had it break 40 a few weeks back and then it dipped down below, and then if you went and just like removed that spike out of it, the line just goes straight like it should have. I think that it was large money coming out of countries like China and stuff,
Ooh, that's
transferring into
interesting.
Bitcoin as a way of getting the money out of the country, and it would have been correlating with the whole election thing and what was going on, maybe not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing who was going to be in power for them in business and stuff. And then all of a sudden, because we saw a spike in buying of a ton of money, new money coming into Bitcoin, and then it left. And you don't know in Bitcoin, you don't know where it went. Like you,
Well, and that's why the U.S. government really does not like
right,
cryptocurrencies in the respect of, like, I just did my taxes today, and they ask, do you have any offshore money, or do you have any Bitcoin
right,
money? So it's like they want to know,
mm-hmm,
do you have any money that we can't regulate,
right,
essentially? And that's a real concern for them because and to be fair, there is a potential avenue for illicit
yeah.
use when it comes to cryptocurrencies, as far as like drug smuggling. I don't know, like I'll pay you 50
Well, they track
Bitcoin and then
cash
you
like
have
that
Bitcoin and then
too,
you cash it
so
out,
it's hard for them.
um,
They can't go look at a ledger and see that it's mine.
right.
That's
But it's easier to have cryptocurrency on your phone
mm-hmm.
than to have $1 million in cash
Yeah,
in your
because
house.
they track those networks, because those networks are owned, you know, by the corporation of the United States.
Well, but are all
They're all FDIC insured, so it's like
are all of them? I don't think all of them are FDIC
well, the
insured.
ones that won't give pot shops money are.
No, no. Oh, no. I'm not talking about banks. I'm
I
talking
was talking
about
about banks,
crypto
not crypto
exchange.
exchanges.
Oh,
No,
no,
no, no,
no.
no, no.
Sorry. I'm
Yeah.
talking about crypto exchange. I'm like,
Nah,
I
nah,
don't
nah.
think,
I
man.
mean,
I
you
don't think
can
it's
with a
FDIC, bro.
VPN and a whatever, you could get onto any exchange and fake them out.
Exactly.
It would be getting your
Yeah.
money out, but you could always just transfer it to Walt, and all of a sudden you have it. It's as soon as you transfer it back out. That's the thing. That's what they don't want businesses like Tesla saying, "We'll take Bitcoin,"
Right.
is because if I made $1 million on a Chinese exchange and it's not even tracked to me, and then all of a sudden I transfer that into a private wallet that's in a different country and then send it to Tesla to pay for my car, and all of a sudden it shows up, they're like, "Wait, what happened?" Like they have no way to track where that money changed hands. Um,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah. That's a
the
thing.
how do you say your name? Shay? Do you know that person?
I think Shay,
Shay? That sounds
maybe.
right. You can let us know if
Is
we
Shay?
pronounce that wrong.
Shay
This was
Lejeune.
something I had concern for too. I will give you that. The immediately thought about human trafficking, all the anonymous money. Yeah, that is. I think that's a legitimate fear. I think it's a legitimate fear for a lot of things. Um, I don't think it means. I don't think it means we shouldn't go to cryptocurrency. I think that.
Oh, Shay.
I think decentralizing. Nice, you got it. Decentralizing money will do a lot more good for the world, than it will do bad for the world. It's
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting
unfortunately
concept.
bad people are always going to exist. I wish that I had a solution for that. I don't think it's more rules, because those of us who follow rules are usually pretty good at it.
Well, I think a probably even more concerning thing than the rules, following rules, is this interesting thing you were telling me about that cardiologists
Dude,
have recently been finding out about.
oh my gosh. So, okay, so Apple releases a new phone every year, and it always has some little gadget or gizmo that you didn't know that you needed. And this year, they gave it wireless charging, which they already had wireless charging, but they put magnets in it because wireless charging was difficult, which I will give them credit. It's a little bit annoying
Oh,
to
wait,
get it
wait. It
centered.
doesn't have the wireless anymore
It
charging?
does. It did before, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
added magnets
Right.
into the iPhone 12 and I believe the iPhone
Right.
11. Anyway, so the iPhone 12, 12 Pro, 12 Mini, all those phones, they got wireless. They still have wireless charging, but they have little magnets, and they call it MagSafe, which for those of you who've known Apple for a while, they used to have those on the old MacBooks and MacBook Pros, and it was a little magnet that would snap on, and then you wouldn't break your cable. They now renamed it, or reused MagSafe for the magnets in wireless charging to help you align the little pad on the back of your phone. Mine has it. Can't really see it. I wish I had it here. I should have been thinking and brought mine down here. But anyway, little circle thing. And you can get a little attachments and cases that attach to it and everything. Well, what happened was there's these doctors that are like, hey, magnets sometimes turn pacemakers and stuff on and off. And I wonder if this magnet is strong enough. And so they tested it on a patient. And lo and behold, it turned it off. And they were like, uh-oh, we discovered something that we need to start warning people about. And that is the fact that if you take your phone and have a pacemaker and put it in your pocket, you could turn your pacemaker off.
Exactly. And the reason behind magnets being able to affect cardiac devices is obviously if you're a cardiac surgeon and you want to make an adjustment to a pacemaker or to a defib device or something like that that's implanted, you don't want to have to crack the chest open every time to make an adjustment to that device, right? So they have really strong magnets that you put on the outside of the person's chest, and then you can actually connect to it and then make adjustments with the magnet, which actually nowadays it seems like they should have some type of ability to do it without a magnet, maybe like wirelessly, like have like a Bluetooth connection or something.
That would take power. It would drain more power. A magnet can just flip a switch. So it's probably just just a switch that doesn't really require power in there, that when you put the magnet there, it's making contact. And so they're able to make a powerless switch that's not going to drain more than it needs to.
That would make sense.
In there, because I was thinking the same too. Is like, what about a remote control, or just like like my dad controls hearing aids with his phone. You're like, why not? I'm going to go for a jog. Let's turn those BPMs up a little bit. Something like that. Like, someone who's had a transplant.
Turn those BPMs up a bit.
It's like some good music. Like. Anyway,
my chest is feeling good, man. I've got a pump on right now.
Well, it's like transplant patients, their hearts they have to retrain their hearts. Well, what if you could just like this feels like about a 120.
Well, that's why a lot of people can't go into MRIs if they've had implant.
Well, yeah, that was the first thing you responded to me. You're like, yeah, magnets are bad for MRIs. It's like, yeah, but did you read it? It says the phone turned it off. Like, that's a bad thing. Like, wait, the phone did it? Yeah, just the phone. Don't.
Yeah.
It just did it. Like, it clicks. I mean, like when I put it on the thing, it's like it's. And Jono was over here tonight, and he's got the case with the magnet on it, and he's got the wallet that goes on the back, and it like holds a wallet in place. So. And then it tells you if it falls off, like warns you that you lost your wallet. But anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, but also, guys, if you just want to stick with like a really high-end, classy iPhone 8,
it disappears because your computer doesn't know.
If you stick with an iPhone 8,
good.
guys,
yeah, you're totally good.
You won't have to worry about it in that. And not only that, but you have this really high-end fingerprint option or thumbprint option. I'd like to point you to Exhibit A. Nobody can steal your identity with a fingerprint.
Really important when masks showed up.
Yeah.
There was
my phone value went way up.
There was literally an update that Apple did to have face recognition notice if you had a mask on to show you the passcode faster. Like they did an iteration update when everyone was required to wear masks. Because you'd go in, like I had this problem too. Like I go into Costco and like it wouldn't unlock, and you have to wait like 5 seconds for it to show the passcode. But now, if you pull it up and look at it with a mask on, it immediately goes to passcode. Like they just rewrote.
Oh wow!
Rewrote the codes.
That's interesting.
How do you find an invisible phone? Run your background removal on Skype or whatever, and then hold your phone up. That's the only way I can. That's what
help you with
Curtis,
that.
I don't know if you know this, but Curtis is not really at the place where we hiked this summer.
Yeah, although I am excited to go back there.
That was a cool place, and actually climb across with ropes and not die.
That's important. Muy importante.
Yes.
So one of the other things, there's a couple other little things I wanted to just run by you guys this week to kind of give you some uplifting news. First of all, Jordan, can you on my link? Can you post? Yep. Can you show this? The little Uzi. Little Uzi link.
Oh yeah, the
Lil Uzi,
the rapper. The rapper. I'm gonna bring it up.
So there's a video that was posted recently on
Oh, does this
Twitter.
have a video?
Yeah, if you scroll down.
Yeah, this one.
Oh no, it's his Instagram one. No,
This
wait,
one.
wait, sorry. Let me see where you're at.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Scroll down. Scroll down.
Okay.
Keep
That's
going. Keep
Instagram
going. Right
right
there.
there. That's the one I was on.
Yeah, Instagram. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't. I was.
I don't want to play it because we'll get in trouble.
No, just turn the volume down. Turn the volume down on it so you can
I
see
need
it.
to mute it.
So what this guy's
There we go.
Little
Oh my
Uzi is a
gosh.
rapper, and he implanted a rose diamond in his forehead,
What?
and this diamond is worth $24 million.
What?
He implanted a $24 million diamond in his forehead. It's actually,
Is he Vision?
I think it kind of looks cool. Yeah, like it looks like Vision, doesn't it? Exactly. But I think it's kind of a cool thing. Like it looks kind of cool. I don't know exactly how they
You know
implanted
they
it
say
into his forehead.
people. There's not a price you could put on a person. He just proved that
Well,
wrong.
here's the thing. This dude better not go into any like country where it's acceptable to
Seriously.
decapitate people
Yeah.
because his value just went up $24 million.
Yeah. At least.
And like he's going to have to be super careful wherever he goes because it's not like he could take his necklace off. It's not like he could take his rings off in this situation.
Yeah.
Like bro's got a diamond implanted in his dome. But I thought that was a pretty like unique new fashion statement. That it'll be interesting to see if more people start doing that.
We've got some funny comments on that.
What do we got?
People have been
What we got,
planting
peeps?
jewels for a while. This takes it to a new level. It's so true. And
I
then
know.
Gary, it's like, is he insured?
Yeah, is he insured? Good question, Gary. Good question, man. I
Super
mean,
good question.
I don't know if insurance company would insure a forehead implant. I don't know.
Like, you're like, hey, I need to up my insurance policy. Like, what changed? Well, I put a jewel in my head. You what?
That's worth
It's worth 24
That's
million.
a quarter of
Yeah.
100 million. Yeah.
Like,
So
gonna
I
get
thought that was a
Bitcoin,
pretty wild situation.
but instead,
Well, but because like the cool thing for a while has been face tattoos,
yeah.
and now the new thing it'll be interesting to see
The
if
thing
this
about
trend kicks on.
that is it would be easier to get rid of.
Right, but depending on how it gets implanted, there's some pretty big risks of like pretty gnarly scarring.
Yeah, but scar
Or-
is one thing on your face. No one's gonna make fun of that. If you've got a swastika on your nose, like you're toast.
Right.
Like,
On your
yeah.
nose. Yeah.
Like,
Be tough. Be tough.
it's like if I have a scar, people are like, they're not gonna be like, what? Little kids will ask what happened, but adults aren't gonna be like, what? Because they're afraid of the answer. They're, like,
Right. Right.
um,
And then the other thing I wanted to comment on, I'm sure I actually had to work all day yesterday, so I didn't get to watch the Super Bowl.
yeah. I
Um,
don't even know who
but-
played. Literally,
Yeah, well,
I don't.
so Tom, my wife is from Kansas City, and so Kansas City Chiefs were playing against the Buccaneers, and Tom Brady was the quarterback for the Buccaneers.
Okay.
And Tom Brady just this year or last year left the Patriots and went to play for the Buccaneers.
Good to know.
Well, everybody wondered, Tom Brady, was he winning all these Super Bowls because he was on Bill Belichick's
Decent
team,
question.
or was it because Tom Brady was a good player? So he went the first year this team has been to the Super Bowl, and he wins the Super Bowl for them. Here's the crazy thing. Tom Brady himself now has 7 Super Bowl victories.
It's crazy.
In all of the NFL, no team has more than 6 NFL wins.
That's impressive.
So he himself
That's more than anyone.
he himself has more than any team in the entire NFL that has been around for almost 100 years,
That's wild.
maybe more. He himself, a single player, has more than an entire, corporation that's been around for 100 years.
That's so weird.
That's pretty
See,
cool.
I did see that he won. I didn't know which team he was on. I gave up on the NFL. As soon as they joined the whole politics thing, I was like, I'm out. Like, and then, well, before that, what did it for me is like the rules changing and just a bunch of other things were changing. I was like, this is stupid. Like, I'm done. I don't.
Right, you couldn't bite people.
Yeah,
like, nah.
biting's
that's
out.
right.
Like, I'm done. Like, I can't.
Biting's
I can't-
out. If biting's
yeah,
out,
No, I can't handle that.
I'm out.
But like as soon as, like first it was like them changing some of the rules in the game and like making like just some weird stuff that just made it less interesting. And then when they went all political, I was like, I'm done. Like you do football. That's what you do. Like stop it. Like if anyone had taken a knee at the Capitol during the inauguration, they would have lost their minds. But football game, totally fair game. But I digress. I didn't watch it. I didn't care. I did see some of the commercials.
Any other?
Terrible.
Oh yeah. I didn't see any. I saw Reddit's commercial. Did you see Reddit's commercial?
Yes.
Loved
the
it.
Wall Street Bets one, right?
So good.
Yeah. No.
Well, it was only 5
there was
seconds.
One that,
it was
there
up
was
for
one
5
that was
seconds.
super controversial that Spotify did that was all about how they're pro trans and have great things that are inside of their company for them. It's like it's fine. I don't care if you like I don't think that they should be unemployed. It's great. It's just that's
Why was it controversial?
Well, it's controversial because it's like it wasn't anything about Spotify. It was just their agenda of that.
Oh, it didn't have any.
It was just
well, it was an app. No, here's what it was. It's an advertisement for Spotify to show how they encourage a certain cultural norm, and they are hoping that brings them more business from.
I understand
that
what they're doing.
client.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it was a dumb move because if they did it,
the hot shot.
like,
why would it be a dumb move for them though?
It's the flavor of the month.
I think for them, it's probably a clever move on their part, but I don't know if it's necessarily.
All people I follow were like, "Well, I'm done with Spotify."
Yeah, but I'm sure it was I would wager that's people that already would have either a potential discretionary, leaning towards.
It doesn't matter where they lean.
Already
I'm just
having
saying
issues.
if they lose business from it, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
I understand what they're trying to do. I would
surprised if they lost business from
it. You would.
I'll watch.
You wouldn't have thought that when they started like canceling conservatives off of Facebook and Twitter, but they lost $51 billion in market cap. So that was fun.
Yeah, I think that they've rebounded by that already. I think they've doubled it since that time.
Right. No, they haven't.
And you just look it up, man. Look it up.
They have not.
Maybe not doubled, but close to.
Not at all.
Yeah, just look it up, man. Look on their value. Look at their stock value.
Anyway.
Their stock value went way up. They did. Look at their stocks.
I don't believe it.
Okay, let me pull up Twitter right now.
Twitter right now.
1 second.
Twitter? Why you look up? Oh, Twitter.
You said Twitter.
Sorry, I thought you were checking their stock on Twitter. I was like, that's a weird place to check their stock. Okay.
No. Yeah, they're up.
Anyway, fine. They're up.
So you can't say that if it's not true.
Well, it went down. Like I'm saying, like it went down. Like it had a negative effect at first. Who cares? Maybe someone bought the dip. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out over time. I know that their active users, that Facebook,
they're at an
all-time
high
and
right now.
Twitter have lost active users.
Actually, they're at they're at a 5-year high. But let's see here. Any other specific crazy world stuff we wanted to bust out here?
That J-Lo insured her butt. So he probably insured his
J-Lo insured her butt. Yeah. I was worried about that.
So jumping back, so we talked about cancel culture. There was something interesting that someone sent me actually today. There's a little game called Terraria. If you don't know what that is, ask your kids if you have kids. They all know what it is. And one of the Terraria co-developers got canceled off of Google. Like, they removed his account of 15 years. They removed his Google Play that had like thousands of dollars worth of apps. They removed his ability to put his game onto Google Stadia, and he had to cancel the game. And he has now said, I'm not publishing any more Terraria on Google, like named it all. And he's like, I haven't got a response yet as to why. Like,
so what is Terraria for people that
Terraria
don't know
is
what
like
that is?
It's like a side scroller version kind of Minecraft. So it's like an adventure type game. Like I said, most kids that are 10 to 15 will know what Terraria is or have played it or still play it. Some adults do. Anyway, it's just like one of those things. It's like going back to our conversation about the dangers of allowing companies to just get rid of people off of a platform just because they're a private agency sometimes affects large swaths of people. And like, especially with no reason yet, it's been it's been 3 weeks with no answer from him, and he's like a large developer and hasn't got an answer like to get his accounts turned back on.
Is there literally like, is there any theories about
I
it, or
don't
is there
know.
just absolutely no
I
idea?
had a little bit of time to look. My guess would be, since right now it's the flavor of the month, is to get rid of anyone who like even remotely says that they voted Republican would get removed if they have enough like clout. But I couldn't find anything or any reason as to like where he's been outspoken or anything about what he does. He just made mention like, fine, I'm done with Google. I can't get him to respond to me. I'm not going to be producing on any of their devices anymore. He's locked out of his phone. He's locked out of like a tablet that he has. Like he can't, there's a ton of stuff he's locked out of because not only did like his presence get wiped off of those stores, his Google account was closed down.
And are you saying this is a story because he was potentially a conservative
I'm not saying
leaning
he was.
developer?
I'm saying it's the dangers of cancel culture. He might have just been
But
captured.
why is
He may
this
have been just
a
captured
cancel
accidentally
culture?
by an AI or something. Because some people
Oh,
have
okay.
gotten. But when you put those into place, which is what was happening before the election and during the election, the Senate was having hearings on these automatic
But was he
filters between Google, Twitter.
associated with some type
No,
of
I couldn't
conservative
find where he
movement?
was. But there's been a ton of people just that have had their accounts removed that didn't do anything. They just maybe used a word or something, but they weren't leaning in any way. But because the AI was set to automatically filter things, people were getting removed on accident that hadn't done
Okay.
anything. I think my leaning is he either was conservative or he accidentally got caught by one of these AI bots, and that's the danger
Oh,
of having this mass, like broad stroke, just get rid of this type of thinking off of our platform. Is it doesn't only just affect him, it affect anyone who bought his games, anyone like anyone that's associated on a Google platform with this guy that's looking forward to their things coming out have now lost out.
hmm. Well, that'll be interesting to see what develops
Yeah.
with that and
I
see
don't know.
how
I
Google
only brought it
responds
up
to
because
that.
it's like he's been affected in some way, and it doesn't just affect him. It's not like, but that's the my whole thinking is that's the dangers of
Careful with canceling
yeah, be
things
careful with
without
canceling,
really.
and
Yeah.
maybe there is some sort of regulation. I mean, I would wholeheartedly want less regulation, but in this area there really is none. But if we use these things for
Mm,
big
mm.
things in income and you're affecting someone's livelihood and you've signed,
Yeah.
if he hasn't
Yeah.
broken anything on your end user license agreement, which he said he has not,
Right.
you shouldn't
Right.
just be able to get rid of them just to get rid of them, just because you're a private business, because you're so like at some point when you're so big, you can't restrict. You have to follow your own rules. Like that's my leaning. It's just the dangers of those. So
Agreed.
because I knew
Agreed.
who he was, I was like, man, that's a big
Um.
deal. He just canceled an entire game
Right.
on an entire gaming platform that somebody might have been counting on that game coming to that platform, and now it's worth less to them. So
I'm ready for shower thoughts or TILs. How
I
about you,
have
buddy?
one TIL.
Okay, hit me.
It is
Oh, I have
you
two.
go
I have
first
two,
then.
so I'll
You
go
go
first.
first then.
Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Today I learned the search to recover debris from the Challenger disaster in 1986, which is the year of our Lord that I was born, also resulted in the discovery of 13 shipwrecks, 2 lost airplanes, and 25 kilos of cocaine.
That's the real value right there.
That's a crazy find.
That's crazy.
All right, what do you got?
Today I learned Shia LaBeouf.
I think it's technically bluff.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf
Technically.
came under
Yes,
heavy
thank you.
fire for plagiarizing his directorial debut in 2012 when he publicly apologized to the original artist Dan Close. People discovered that Shia's apology was itself plagiarized verbatim off a Yahoo Answers post from 2010.
That is funny. I like that. Kind of clever. Okay, so this is actually kind of a big deal, this TIL.
Go.
Today I learned that sand is the second most consumed resource on the planet after water.
I believe it.
And I didn't know this, but apparently we're running out of it, which is crazy. And you think to yourself, how are we running out of it? We have the Sahara deserts. We have all these crazy big deserts. Well, the problem lies in the type of sand that we're
Silica.
using. So, well, no, desert sand is largely actually useless to us because the overwhelming bulk of sand we harvest that goes to make concrete goes to make concrete, and for that purpose, desert sands are the wrong shape. They're eroded by the wind
Oh,
instead of water, and it makes them too smooth and rounded to lock together and make stable concrete.
makes sense.
Um, so the sand we need is more like angular and found mostly like in like riverbeds, banks, floodplains, lakes, seashores, that sort of thing. And apparently we're running out of that type of sand, which is a weird thing to contemplate, but that's a TIL that I read an interesting article on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of cray. All right, share thoughts. I only have dose.
I have 4, so I'll go first. When the secret, this is too soon. Too soon. This is gonna happen. I can tell you this right now. When the secret to immortality is discovered, we won't notice for a good 50 years before we realize that billionaires aren't just taking good care of themselves.
Oh my gosh, yeah, very true. Oh, bro,
I
brutal.
almost can't read that. It's too depressing.
It's
They
true
would
though.
do
It's
it
very
too.
true. Okay, read two. Read
Okay.
one more.
A Nestle Crunch bar is beans and rice.
Yeah, that's true. All right. It takes a lot of courage to list a piece of exercise equipment for sale and include barely used in the description.
So very true.
Oh,
I had that one.
I just saw that. Yeah.
I was like, is he reading off mine again? You've done that before. Hockey is a sport. Fighting is a sport. Hockey is the only sport that allows you to take a break and play another sport in the middle of a game.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's funny. All right.
Except, wasn't it like full contact chess, where it's like you play chess and then box? Well, that's like designed
boxing
that way.
chess.
Like, yeah,
yeah.
You don't really take a break.
And then there are some other weird little.
But hockey, like it's built in. Like it literally lets you take a break and then you get a timeout.
Yeah, race car driving, you get little breaks, but you're not playing a different sport,
No.
I guess. Yeah. Okay, my last shower thought is, if domestic housewives exist, so that term, domestic housewives exist, that implies that there are feral housewives as well.
I believe it.
If there's domestics, then is there feral? Like, what is
True.
that? What's that trying to imply? What are they saying there?
Yeah.
All right, you got a last shower thought?
No, you used it, remember?
Oh, no, I thought you had you already read 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Well,
Well,
to clarify
guys,
before we go, it wasn't just market cap. They are still losing users. I'm just putting that out there.
No, Twitter's value though has
their
increased.
value has gone like kind of where it was.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
that's what I was saying.
But I'm like that could be people buying the stock and bringing it back up.
Yeah.
But as far as
people
their
buying the
user
stock.
base between Facebook and Twitter, they're still losing users right now.
See, their value though has increased, and I thought you were saying their value had
Well,
decreased by 50 million,
it
and I was
had,
saying their value
but
has
I guess
increased.
what I'm saying is like long term, if they continue to lose users, their value will go down too. Like if people are
right. But even since that
jumping
time,
ship.
the value has continued to increase.
their stock value. Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But
so we were both right to what we were
Yes.
saying then, I guess.
yes.
Yeah, I'll give you
They
that.
have less eyeballs.
All right.
They have less ads, and I don't like ads. Use Brave browser; it gets rid of them. Seriously,
Not sponsored.
not sponsored at all. Go use Brave browser.
Not sponsored.
Based on Chrome, and it protects you. So, anyway.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you all. Appreciate your comments. Give us a like on Facebook, wherever you're watching us at. Facebook, YouTube, not Instagram anymore.
Why not Instagram?
But I don't think we don't stream on Instagram.
Oh, no. Yeah, I won't stream there, but you can go follow us there, and Curtis posts weird pictures.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, you can follow us there on Instagram. True. And subscribe. If there's a little bell button, hit that. Whatever, any of those things help. We appreciate you guys.
Hang on, before we go, I gotta read my dad's text.
What do you got?
Apparently, he texted me,
Oh.
and I did not read it like 12 minutes ago.
Okay, hit us with
he said,
with Poppy's text.
Bitcoin value, diamond body enhancements. Oh crap! It's phone or watch.
What is this world turning into?
What bizarro world is it? Basically, what bizarro world is this? Wake me up with a pocket full of gold, canned food, and extra ammo. No mods. Well, maybe LASIK.
Yeah, maybe LASIK. That's good.
Oh, good
Um,
points. Good points,
Corky,
Dad.
you're classic. You're classic, man. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you so much, and we hope you have a fantastic
Yep.
week. We will talk to you guys soon.
Love you all.
Like
Bye.